And I restrained myself from writing on it because I'm like, somebody said, well, you can go all the way to the bottom, the end and cross over. I'm saying, yeah, that's a 2 mile down and up. Getting a bridge across, I think, would really increase revenue for just all the businesses downtown.
People.
That's a goal.
Okay.
Sure.
Is the password that movie something Point Break?
Point Break.
Is it just Point Break? Oh,
So.
lowercase.
Used to be.
Oh,
Oh no, but it changed. Wellington capital W 2023. Let's see if Natalie's got on before we officially start. I don't see her on here. Robert, will you say something a little louder? I want to see if he picks you up.
I am pulling up the minutes that I briefly reviewed.
There we go. Here comes Natalie.
Yeah, thank you for doing the minutes.
It just got to a point where with that, with this and accessing the OWL, it's like still somewhat new. Getting it and sent us, like we'll just take it. Not a big deal.
Okay. I can do that.
Okay. And Natalie just text. Natalie, can you hear us?
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay.
I'm definitely gonna go there.
Awesome.
Milliken skate park. Sweet.
Thank you. Okay. Well, for now, I believe this is this. So
okay, so if everybody for a roll call can state your name. That's here, Laura Lynn Bockelman,
Robert Sauceman.
Jordan Jones.
Natalie,
Yes.
okay. So missing
Yep.
is John.
Yep.
And Teresa.
Teresa Wakefield.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, and we do not have any public here to comment on non-agenda items. And then for minutes, did everybody have a chance to review the minutes, and is there any edits or changes?
I just needed to finish the minutes.
Natalie, did you review the minutes?
No, but I'm pretty sure they're fine, hon.
Okay. I didn't see anything.
It was, yeah, that was good discussion. Not a lot of, I mean, there's some internal action items, but I don't think we really voted on anything.
Yeah.
Right. So nothing that just as a recap.
No, I think they're really good. And it's hard when we get backed up on minutes. So I just want to make sure if we can get them approved, if nobody has anything, let's get them approved, get them all moved on.
Yeah, we're going over when Cody was here, right?
Yep.
Everything.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
That was the big thing from last month.
Yeah. So somebody wants to make a motion to approve the minutes.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes.
Robert made the motion. Who wants to second?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Natalie, are you good with minutes? Do you approve?
Yes, I approve.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and then moving on to the board review and action items, the bike fix station.
Yep. So first thing on the agenda, as we discussed last time, and in previous meetings, the goal is to get enough of them in town to make it feasible to be able to ride from one side to the other, or for people coming into town for commerce. With our discussion, we talked about just getting one as a trial and then figuring out where to put it. That one was purchased and is on delivery whenever it shows up. So I would love to discuss where we think is the best place for that, getting it put, and then we can all kind of discuss if it's the style we want. It's the one we all agreed on. It has the pump on it and everything. Yep, the one with the pump. Same company that the Darrow company, they make some of the bike, one of the brand of bike racks that we have chosen in the past that fits our standards. It's got the rack where you can put the wheel up and all the tools that come hang down. So that was the one that we approved last time. So we have the one on order so we can get it in, look at it, make sure it fits our standards rather than kind of going with one or going with 5 of them or 3 of them. So we had talked about somewhere around Harvest Village, since it was middle of town, right on the trail there, whether it's the open space side of the Knolls or, you know, on the corner where the Harvest Village Trail goes through. Thoughts?
Where is Harvest Village?
It is
On the
near Rice.
Yep, right across from Rice. So it would be on the west side of town, but it would be close enough where if you were riding the underpass to the Wellville Park, you could potentially still walk there if you had an issue.
Yeah.
Kind of similar. I mean, it's a little far from WCP, which is kind of the hesitation there. The only where in between there would be on the north side of the Harvest Village area, which we don't have a lot of recreating space there. At least there we do have the park at Harvest Village and the disc golf, and it's coming up from there. So it is kind of like a more central location. It would be far from.
We had identified in the last meeting, we said 1 by WCP, 1 on the east side, 1 kind of bicentennial-ish, and then 1 south. Those were the 4 that we kind of like thought would be most important. So I'm mixed, guys. Part of me says we should put it on the east side just because we don't have anything, like put it over by Wellville, by the ponds, by the trail that's
I
already
kind of
there.
like that idea too.
But I don't know. I mean, we'll get more, right?
Yes, the goal is to get more. This is just the trial to then move forward.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, the east side, they kind of get the short end most of the time. So yeah, let's start it there.
Start at the
And I
start
think
of the trail.
everybody has like a like, I don't know, when we ride our bike, that's usually a destination spot is to
Yeah.
go around the ponds,
Yeah.
you know, so it'd be.
From the east side where our destination's usually going over to like Ridley's or something. So we go right through there.
So you go through there,
Yeah.
okay. You come from the east side?
Oh, okay, cool.
So
Would that be okay?
yeah, so if we're talking Wellville,
Kids go there, fish and all that stuff, so. they can-
wonderful. I love the idea. If one's going there anyways, sounds good to me. What I'll do then is I'll identify, because I think we're probably still a couple weeks out with, it's a month time lead. So we probably still have a couple weeks. I could take a couple of pictures and of 2 or 3 locations there.
Mhm.
My inclination is somewhere near the pavilions there in between the ponds, because that is kind of where the trail kind of starts. And if we're talking about fishing and the access to the pond, it's kind of visible so people could use it.
Yeah.
That would be my inclination.
Yeah.
But I could also think about, you know, somewhere in the roundabout where someone riding in could access it too. So are you guys okay with me just taking pictures and sending them off? Or do you want to just, we can decide now?
I think just make the executive decision.
Make a decision. Will do.
And we're getting 2 to 3 more,
Right?
right?
Yeah.
The
I think-
goal is to,
Then we
yeah.
can map them out.
I like near
Yeah.
the pavilions. I like that.
Okay.
Like kind of that area. If if it works, I think that's a great.
Yeah, if you can make it work.
I think there's workable space there too, just kind of thinking about it,
Yeah.
where I could
I
more
guess it just go to the
manipulating.
ground and cement in. It's
We could-
easy,
yep.
or- Okay.
Yep, we can just pour a little pad, or I mean, depending, we could. It's got to be ADA accessible, so it's got to be somewhere people could get
Yeah.
right up to it.
They got a couple of
Yeah.
dead end spots, right?
Mhm. So that's kind of where I was thinking too.
corners.
There's a crusher fine pass. If we used like a curve in one of those that was close to the pavilion, we just pour a little pad, drill it in, good to go. Okay,
So nice.
yeah,
That'd be cool.
Okay, Wellville it is.
Yeah, I like it
all
all.
in favor, yeah.
Yeah, Natalie, are you good with that?
Yeah, that's good that y'all think about the east side. I mean, we kind of get left out of everything.
I forgot you were over
Yeah.
there. Yes, yeah. No, I think it's a great starting point and people just love the pond. So cool. Okay. Group partnership list.
since we don't have the whole group here, it might be a little bit difficult, but
You're gonna table?
could we just start the discussion and then table the actual work put into it? It was in the packet. I did show you just kind of like a very entry level template of what I was thinking. And the goal of this is really just to get people that we work with that we can reach out to or promote through. You know, like I put on here, the Trailhead Activity Center, because they do things within the town. They will partners. We've worked with them for a couple different events, Boys and Girls Club. I would love to get the idea, you know, like who are good contacts for a couple people at pickleball. So if we have some sort of event we're looking towards, or, you know, when we get towards fundraising of one of the agenda items, like who we can reach out to there.
Yeah.
So just everybody's not only personal contacts, but like, hey, if we identify businesses, maybe someone on the committee can then start reaching out to businesses as a piece of their workload from the committee.
Yeah, and working with the chamber too, right? Like,
Yep.
that's a great place to hit. Okay.
Yep. So I just really quickly just showed like, hey, these are the ones that I've already kind of worked with, not the entirety of the list, but I thought we could go through together. So we can table the action of making the list until I'll just put it again on the next meeting agenda. But just wanted to bring this up, and it's in the packet if you want to check it out. Very simple, but
We'll start brainstorming though.
yeah,
Okay.
so please do brainstorm and then bring your ideas to the next meeting. That'll get us through that exercise a little quicker.
Sweet. Moving on.
Up to these. Yep, moving on.
Moving on is WCP Memorial Fundraising. I am so sorry. He is almost done.
Good.
I swear. It's just, we got kind of sideways. So.
Do you want to talk about it anymore from your standpoint to the group, or just wait?
No, go ahead. I don't know what else to say. Like, we're working on getting the rendering done. Mike volunteered to do the drawing for it. It's almost done.
And this is for the benches.
For the whole thing.
Yep.
Okay.
So it'll be a rendering of the potential schematics. It's not like set in stone or anything like that. But oh yeah, you weren't at last meeting. So we had an internal meeting with some of the invested parties within the town. So like Public Works, who's going to help us do some of the work.
Right.
Okay. My boss, who was very much like, if we were going to seek out a grant, help us do the grant writing. We decided not to go with a grant. We're going to do it more of a grassroots, because there is a lot of investment from people within the community. Awesome. The American Legion, or I mean, was a group that showed up last time, not the American Legion. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the Legion showed up and said that they're full on board, whatever we need. So they'll be part of that community partner list. Yep. Dennis showed up. Cool. And because of that interest, we want to make the decisions internally, what it looks like and how it is, but allow them to help find money partnership, do the physical labor that will, you know, help take care of the planter boxes and whatever it is, you know, community build. So there's going to be a 3D rendering. Mike is going to do that. Yes. And then I'm putting together a list of all of the amenities that will be there. And then we'll do just like try to set a donation schedule. We were thinking, so I had another meeting, and just the idea of trying to get the best amount of interest with donation backing is to put different names to different levels, but show them what it will go towards. Not say, hey, you are going to be getting a bench, but a bench is one of the amenities we need paid for with your lump sum, whatever that level is. Just 5,000 is the American level, 1,000 is the whatever, you know, like, and we can come up with the names and all that, and we'll put all that together. But then we'll have something to present when we have that list of people that we want to go out to, and then the American Legion can hopefully help us. The other thing we discussed too is we can get a group of people that aren't on this committee. So further along in here, well, how about I talk about that in E, because that totally goes with E. So once that rendering is ready, we'll present it and then get all that put together and start the fundraising portion of it.
Still thinking small bricks with names?
I think we moved away from that just because of a couple of things. The maintenance is a little bit of a headache, but I think what we're going to try to do instead of that, we'll do a concrete walk up to the central cannon, and then concrete, but instead of doing just like a rim of concrete around that is wide enough for ADA accessibility, we're thinking of making concrete further up. So that's more of a plaza so that we can have an event there. Ross can use it for the library book readings. If someone wants to do, you know, like an outdoor meeting, they could use that space, or anything they wanted to, like just like a little memorial concert. We can actually have an event there, and the whole space is ADA accessible, or a majority of the space is accessible, rather than just that one rim. So the benches will still be set around it with the poles, and then there will be turf and flower beds and stuff, but it will be more usable space. Then if we hopefully get enough money for some sort of the pillars or any sort of memorial spaces, we don't have to manipulate any of the landscape. It'll be ready to go in the concrete.
Perfect. Excited to see what it looks like.
Yeah, we are
No.
too.
Yeah. Him and my son have been working on it. It's gonna be good.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool,
That's it.
great.
So tennis courts.
Okay, so I spoke with a representative from Evergreen Tennis Courts, finally got a hold of somebody. They do a lot of the work of resurfacing and redoing any type of outdoor roller or tennis or basketball courts. We're trying to set up a meeting, but basically the information I got from this gentleman is, depending on the current condition of the concrete,
Mhm.
depending on what exactly we would be looking for as far as resurfacing, if we're gonna do what is typical, which is a resurface with 5 poly coat and the painting, you're looking anywhere from $1.25 to $1.50 a square foot. It's 11,000 square feet. So doing the math, we're looking at,
Is that viewpoint?
yes, this is at viewpoint 16 to,
Right.
let's just call it 16 to 20 grand. Now, last time Teresa said that the pickleball club had stated that some of them are a little bit uneasy about playing just on top of concrete because it breaks the balls and it's a little harder surface.
Okay.
But if we did do a 5 poly coat, let me back up. When I meet with this gentleman, I'm going to take him to WCP and say, what is on this tennis court? Because I couldn't find exactly how they finished it. I might do a little more digging before, but say they play on that all the time. If we could replicate that, granted, it is probably asphalt under there, so it's a little softer than concrete. But if we could replicate the fall hazard, or basically it's called a Clegg test. It measures impact basically from whatever's falling.
Okay.
It measures impact, whatever they grade that as. If we could match what a tennis court is to a concrete surface and then get a real quote for how much that's going to cost, then maybe we can consider fully getting pickleball's input. I will tell you that in my journeys to New York, all of their pickleball courts outside are just straight concrete, and there's thousands. There was one that had like thousands of people playing pickleball, and I'm not even joking. It probably had 55, 60 courts on it. It was just this big old handball court and basketball court, and there were probably at least 50 to 60 pickleball courts in South Manhattan, and those people were playing like crazy. There had to be 1,000 people out there.
And they didn't care that it was concrete.
I mean, they might have, but they were playing. So I mean, I guess what I'm saying is that, like, we're going to try to provide. We have to look at the numbers and see where we're at and figure out if it's something that we want to proceed with. If it is, then, we can make the recommendation that it's something I try to seek out as capital improvement. If it's, it's so much more, then we might have to consider even doing it if the pickleball club isn't going to use it,
Yeah.
Resurfacing and repainting for basketball is something I still want to do there because the lines are faded, but that repainting is a lot less. So I just kind of wanted to present the information that I found and just kind of get an understanding after I meet with this gentleman that we will have some options moving forward.
Cool.
Sweet.
Okay.
And I do want to tie in, and we talked about just the mats that go around it. So I'll try to figure out pricing on that to dampen it so that we reduce the noise. So. Yep. But it is one of our goals to try to get this year. So if we get pricing, we start moving forward.
Now, just a quick question. Is it cheaper to resurface than to build the whole new? I'm assuming yes. But
Well, I would think so. Plus, we don't really have the space for it. That would be the other thing. We could identify a space at a park, potentially, And that's, again, with given the information of cost and what we have to do to move forward with resurfacing, we could just look into recommending that we,
Yeah, I have no
move
idea what
forward
the
to
numbers
trying
are,
to. And if you would like me to pursue that, I could absolutely could. I just. Yeah, just thoughts.
If it's, I mean, if we're gonna pay $20,000, I mean, if it takes $20,000 to build a new one, it's like, well.
Sure.
Should we just build a new one?
We can
That's
absolutely.
my thought
something is-
process.
Sure.
of it.
I love options and I
I
think
have
we
no
need to look
idea
into it.
How much it is to cost stuff. You probably have better guess.
Well, it's probably
Like 50, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was what I was thinking.
at the minimum,
And then I would say, if we're
probably 100,000 to get one going.
along the same lines, if we're trying to build one that's 4 courts for 100, why don't we build one that's 8? And then we don't have, where's the space? Like, we could always chase that, which fine to
Right.
do. I think the other goal would be incorporating that into the park and rec master plan when it is developed and identifying an actual need and saying this, we do need to identify space for this at some point.
Which we need on the east side.
Right. I mean, pickleball at Wellville would be kind of cool too.
Yeah.
Like pump and pickleball,
That would be pretty cool.
but not anything that we should just like not consider.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, so subcommittees.
So I wanted to kind of pivot the conversation with the WCP, also maybe the tennis courts, whatever we're doing there. So these larger scale projects or ones that we identify, I would really like to get a subcommittee with the members of this committee that really head up when we find a project, we earmark it, we know where it's going, we know how much it's going to cost. Everything's down to a T other than going out and getting the money. I'd love to have a person or two to head up a subcommittee to find that. And based on that subcommittee, you can then find people off this committee to help you with fundraising, but the committee would then kind of head that portion of it.
Okay.
And Rebecca had mentioned that, or Trustee Daly had mentioned that last time, that as long as we're pushing forward with this committee, then you can find other partners to help with the process.
So if we had somebody that's really involved in pickleball, they could create a subcommittee and.
Absolutely.
well,
Yep.
Yeah.
love
And then use all their personal contacts to move forward with that.
Love it.
Since we don't have everybody here, it was my understanding, was it John that said he would love to at least be part of the subcommittee?
Yeah.
But I will not speak on his behalf. He said last time, it is a goal to get this subcommittee. It will table actually voting someone in as the chair of the subcommittee or the. Yeah. Until next time.
Is
we
this,
have everybody.
is this goal specific for the pickleball or? is this
No,
just-
this is just all of the projects that we earmark. So
Okay,
we have our projects internally. Sorry, go
Mhm.
ahead.
Oh, no, so, okay, so we'll come up with them and then the subcommittee will decide
Yeah,
how they want to tackle them and go for them and.
absolutely. So let's just say you wanted to do something more at the skate park next
Mhm.
year, right?
Sure.
And you would like to do something maybe more outside that of what we typically do, or where we're going back and identifying small projects that we can improve on, and we all agree on those so that we go do the site visit, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
If something bigger comes up, John could then, maybe partner the two people on the subcommittee, then also use you and John, whoever, hypothetically, whoever on the subcommittee would then use the resources they have to help. And then the resources the other people have to help find that pool of money. And it's kind of their specific task as part of this committee as a whole is to see those projects we all earmark to a monetary process where we can start the building.
Okay, gotcha. Good. Okay,
Cool.
yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
So we'll table that voting until next time. I mean, because I want everybody to be involved in that process.
I think everybody can make it to the August. I haven't heard you. Robert's again.
So
That's fair. It should be easy, but it's other things than not. I don't know why. The last couple of months has just been.
we're all with you, man.
Get the kids back in school.
Yeah, right. That's-
Community survey.
So as a recreation side of our department, we really wanted to just offer people the option in our interactions of something to fill out, whether that are a park and play, We're also going to be involved in the Main Street markets. We're going to do a couple booths for recreation there, I think at 4 days. So we'd want something that we can get some feedback. So I wanted to put it on our plate here as a committee first, or your plate as the committee, to drum up some ideas of what you want to see the community's input on where we move forward. And then myself and our rec team can kind of take those, compile them, put them into a form so that they can fill out, whether it's an actual physical form or just like a Google Docs is probably what we'll do.
Okay.
Or Google Forms, excuse me. And then we can just get that information, present it back here, and that'll give us some more things moving forward as well. And rather than the larger scheme ones that we do, it's just more of a passive one that everybody that we're getting and everybody that's coming in front of us sees. And then we can manipulate it year by year as we kind of check some of those boxes off and add new things. That gives us maybe a little bit more direction on projects.
We're gonna try to get some like demographics of who people are that are using the space.
Yep. So we can, that's basically, I wanted to just have you guys throw out questions and I can absolutely put on there. Or what we can do is if you take it upon yourselves to each give me back your 5 to 10 best ideas, and then we can compile those. It's up to you. We can do it tonight, or you can just take that as homework. Email me because we do have a park and play on the 24th. We would like to get that at. So no, 27th, next Saturday.
Do we have a framework of what that survey already
sorry.
looks like that we could we'll look at?
That is a different one. This is something that I'll discuss.
So one of the questions I want to make sure we ask is, because I'm really curious about who's using the parks. So can we ask like if they live within Wellington or if they live, what's the word? You know, kind of boundary, like,
Area.
yeah, because you know, I live further from town. And so I'm driven by events in a park that'll get me to a park, but I'm curious about other people that live outside of Wellington, what drives them to certain parks and what their uses are. Like, I didn't know there was a 4-H group that had been meeting at I think Viewpoint. But then my mind goes, okay, well, what types of things should we have there to help?
So could we
For
ask
them
what
using it.
neighborhood do you live in?
Yeah, what neighborhood maybe, what park are you closest to?
I would say
Or do you live outside of
what neighborhood
Wellington?
do you live in, and then what park do you typically, or do you frequent? If you
I would say what park do you frequent? I'm not sure if we want to ask like what neighborhood you live. Well, if it's anonymous. So what I'll do is just give me all the questions, and
Okay.
I have the people that I work with that will absolutely let me know the best way to phrase these questions
Perfect.
and make it accessible for everybody to use and feel comfortable.
Do they know all the parks that we have in town? And we got some cool stuff, but people don't know about, you know, Winnick Park or Viewpoint Park or, I think it would be eye-opening to if they know all the cool stuff that we have.
Okay.
Did you know Wellington has X amount of parks?
Yeah, right?
Can you name them all?
Yeah, and then from there, I think it's just the amenities that they're looking for. I mean, we know that we've heard over the years, people want basketball in the dog park over on the east side. We've heard more trails. You know, obviously, we've heard pool and rec centers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But even some of the other stuff, just amenities that people are looking for in there.
For recreation side, we're definitely gonna ask questions about programming similarly. So basically
Yeah.
everything that we have with the park, like what amenities, okay, so what programs,
Mhm.
what facilities, what would you like to see, you know, where would you like to recreate, you know, where do you recreate,
Yeah.
those kind of things, and we'll tie in recreation very similarly to this, open spaces and trails as well. Like, I do want to ask some yes or no questions, like, do you feel like we offer enough open space?
Mm.
Because to me, this is me speaking blatantly as both my manager and as a user. No, like I wish we had more open space
Mhm.
that was native that you could just kind of go and lose yourself in with trees and stuff like that. We,
That'd be so great.
you know, in these directives kind of will
I
help
go past
us,
City
you know,
Park all the time now, and they're just laying in the grass reading
Oh
books.
my God.
passive area, right?
It's nice.
So if we do a yes or no question like that, should we have a follow-up that says, if no, why?
Yeah.
And then have them explain what would you like
Yep.
to see?
Yeah.
Just so we get more info rather than.
So we're just generally developing some questions that we're, the rec team, Parks and Rec team is gonna put out at the next few park and plays.
Okay.
And also at the Main Street markets when we have our booths. So we'll just, everybody that kind of cycles through, we'll get it. And then we'll also do the same survey when we send out the end of year surveys for our programming. We always just ask them how their programming went, what changes would you like to see? We'll include this in there
Great.
as a separate, like, hey, will you also fill out this as we develop for?
Yeah.
You know, it'll have like PROST on it and make sure that, you know, people know that it's coming to us for recommendations or you guys for
Yeah.
recommendations.
And like it's coming from volunteers, citizens, community
Yep.
members, not necessarily even from the town. Like that's really,
That's so
really important. Yeah.
How do they receive information? Do they go to the town website and look it up? Do they go to your recreation site? Do they look on Facebook?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Water bill, it used to be water bill.
There is still a lot. I mean, we still put out almost everything in the water bill because of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Newsletter.
so how are they receiving best?
Okay.
My whole friend group still signs up when they get email notifications.
Yeah.
Like that's, they're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
it's good email. We
Do
sign
we-
up for.
Do we
Dennis?
anything like that, like an email notification for parks, like all events that are coming up?
Mhm.
Yep, Recreation does,
How in the
but
world do you sign up for that?
you go through our recreation website
So it's people who are already registered.
and sign up. You have to,
If I
yeah,
don't know about it, I'm assuming the majority of the town doesn't know
you
about it.
automatically get them once you register for anything in recreation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, some of them, so we can generate them for specific. Usually like baseball can only get baseball ones once we
Yeah.
have schedules out, but then we can also just send a broadcasted one.
So could we also put a question on there? Would you like to join our notification list?
So,
And have some-
so the notification list just from rec is a little bit of an issue because then we get backlogged with people that aren't in our programming. But typically when we send something out from our recreation side, we also send it out in the town newsletter. So we send out a lot of recreation, upcoming events, everything, Parks and Recreation to Mahela. And she
Okay.
puts it in the newsletters. So
They
if they're
should
signed up on
register
it,
for the
that's,
newsletter.
if they're passive users of parks and not actual recreation users. And I believe I'm getting this right. It's easier for us to separate those two within recreation. So we don't have the backlog of people that would have to sign up for an account within recreation,
Yeah, so I think just encourage them to sign up, register for the newsletter,
the town
because
newsletter.
there's a big section on Parks and Rec
Yep.
every time.
Yep, and they can also get information. So I update our website if there's any sort of issues going on, like if we're doing irrigation work
Okay.
or if we're like turning water on here or there, so people don't like, hey, your irrigation well, they can see it there. They can also call in, but
Yeah.
it's a way to get forward. So I update the website when I can.
I think that's good, push people to the newsletter.
But if people don't get that newsletter and they just want the rec stuff, maybe we can then take this information and develop something where we can just do only specific.
Volunteer sign up too would be a great.
Yes,
program.
volunteer sign
yeah.
up. Are you being volunteered?
Well, I thought the wording I wanted, are they in town limits or outside of town limits? Really curious about who used that.
Mm. That's regional.
There's just, Wellington is such a spread out community, right? And
Mhm.
so I'm just personally curious about if we're getting the information to the people, like the people that wouldn't receive a water bill, right? That live outside of town, you don't get a water bill. How are we getting them the information that we've got cool stuff? We've got this great recreation program. We've got these great parks. Please come into Wellington. You don't need to go to the other towns because we got cool stuff right here.
That's a good one.
There are a decent amount of participants from Nunn, Red Feather, Lepore, like all the surrounding communities.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
that would be a good multiple choice there. Otherwise people just start saying all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Unincorporated in the town or the other town.
Yeah, yeah. Something in that direction.
Yep.
Other than that one as well.
Mhm.
I think it's,
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
That's all I have.
Okay, well, if you want to
George
just,
probably has
just
Let me think about this because I'll
Take a
write
few,
them
yeah.
down already. I'll have.
write them down and then email them to me and we will filter through all of them, get them put in the right way and get it out.
Yeah, just make
That's
sure
exciting.
wherever they are, they're like.
I guess one
Right.
question is.
Yeah.
What is the purpose? What are we trying to solve? Just get more information about our potential community. What is, if we had a sole purpose, what would that be? With the survey.
I know at least from what we'll try to generate from the recreation standpoint is just getting better participation. If that, is that what you're asking?
I'm asking what questions are we trying to probe for to get, what information are we trying to probe for? From our attendees essentially. What is beneficial to us to get more people there? What questions? It's easier to craft the questions than you have that why.
Sure. I guess the ultimate why is making sure that we're connecting with everybody.
Mhm.
Because I think in general, there still is like a little bit of a disconnect with some people in our community. They just some of them still travel to do their recreation in Fort Collins. Some of them just choose not to recreate,
Right.
and we want to know why, because typically when we talk, like everybody in town I talk to, it's like
We do that?
we do that. Yeah, like we have, like, people didn't know we have a softball, and like the softball's our biggest program, you know, we
Yeah.
have 12 teams in softball,
Yeah,
but there are still people that know we don't have softball,
yeah,
you know, which means they're not driving by WCP with the
Right.
lights on,
right,
which means do they know it's there? Like
yeah,
there's just still that disconnect of what we actually offer first and foremost, and whether they want to use it or not, like we're, you know, what's
Yeah.
going to attract them. Because I know for a fact that people, like they said with the trails, they're just riding in different directions, which doesn't bring commerce downtown because there just aren't great trails here. So
Yeah.
like we need to identify those things so that we can build better.
yeah. And I mean, you guys have a really good wish list. I think validating that those are community concerns and questions in which we supported. I think it's a
Right.
really important thing to do. So if your number one is this, and you ask a yes or no question, is this important? And people say yes, 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 then you have the, you know,
Okay.
the ammunition to say, in our survey that we did, it, you know, validated that this is the number one wish list item that Wellington really needs, you know, like those kind of questions. So.
Can you do that? Like, if you like dump, like, here's like 20 things out of our wish list, and people can pick their top 5.
I
That would
would-
be
I
cool
would-
to identify the top 5
Right.
of the community, right?
Oh, to rank them,
To rank them. We probably
Ooh.
have 20 things on there. And
right?
if everybody picked their top 5, I don't know how you do that. I really don't.
So you would get a very good,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's
Yeah.
not
That's a
even what
great
I was
idea.
thinking.
Oh, I'm
That's,
sorry. I thought
no,
that's what you were
this is way better.
Okay, there's no beating around the bush there.
Right.
Plain
Yeah,
simple.
these are the
Right.
projects that we've identified, you know, how important are they to you?
The town has spoken.
Yeah. And I
yeah.
think just for one piece of it, that's like more of like for parks. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
fantastic. I think
very
from
parks.
recreation side,
Yeah,
we still have to reach out to the customer and see where that
Yeah.
separation is to generate more
Yeah.
interest and
Right.
provide what they need to sign up and
Do
get there.
do we have a, how did you hear about us question? Because you always get those like.
I would list your mission statement too, so people know, because that's really why. Why are we reaching out to community? Because we're committed to reaching out to the community.
Yeah.
But the recreation piece is a lot of awareness and letting people know of opportunity and stuff.
It's cool stuff.
Yeah.
Where do you get your town news?
Yep.
How do you
So
get
how do you
your-
receive your info from the town?
Well, that's gonna be Facebook.
And another question I would add would be, it will be.
Yeah,
How would you like to receive communication about upcoming town events?
Oh, moving in the future. Yeah.
yeah.
What do you want? us to-
And I guess how big of a reach do we have with that? Could we do text updates and text notifications? I mean, how far can we go with notifications?
That would be a discussion I'd have to have with staff, but
Yeah, so there is a text service with the town you can sign up for,
Okay.
and I'm pretty sure I
It's like
have
Meetings,
seen.
trustees stuff, right?
Yeah, and then,
So it's already in place.
yeah, there's like emergency alerts, and I think there has been once of like recreation deadline is approaching, here's the website, short website to go register. I think I've seen things like that on it before.
But is it more for emergency type? stuff?
It's very.
Yeah.
It's
It's,
like that then.
yeah,
I
And,
mean, I just like these, board of trustee and board.
and one important thing to
Yeah.
remember
Oh,
too,
I
there's,
guess you get
Yeah,
kids parks.
Yeah, kids parks and-
text message. up.
Yeah.
That's-
there's
is it Kids Park?
yeah, May 20th.
certain amount of reaching out to do and then overreaching out,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
And we get that generated feedback with like, okay, all of a sudden, because rec put out 5 emails in the last week, 80% of them were unopened and, you know, that's not good publicity, or not
Right.
publicity. That's just not a good way to reach out to people because
Yeah.
then they get very droned out to it. So when you have
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
important, so like there's that balance, and that's why anything we have here, I'm gonna take this all to the expert within the town, because she is amazing with what she does, and she'll be able to, if I get all the information from you guys, what you want to see and hear and get out of this survey, I'll take it and we'll make it the best we can.
They're really hard though. I mean, these are so hard because the people who want to know, you know, and the people who don't want to know, don't know. And I just go back to the skate park event after 3 years and I didn't know. Well, dude, I mean, I run into people all the time that know who I am just because of that place. And I'm like,
Yeah.
You don't want to know.
Yeah, I
You
think
don't.
it's
You
Sage
don't.
Meadows. If somebody works in Fort Collins, they take Highway 1 to and from work. They never drive through town.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they may not know what our downtown looks like. They definitely don't know what community park looks like.
Right.
Yeah,
Softball, it's like I'm on the east side. I'm never over there at night.
right. Yeah, there's definitely portions
But I
of our
think,
town
and
that
I
I have no idea.
think the goal then would be to, for these communities as we move potentially further south, and really as Fort Collins finishes their projects moving north past Budweiser,
Yeah,
how do we capture that
yeah,
and bring that into our programming and use up here?
absolutely. Yeah. I love it.
So just,
How all do free magazines work? Because Aurora, they always hand it out there. They always had like a rec book. It came out 3 times a year and it's
So-
just that at the grocery stores and you would.
here,
No, this was in Aurora. It's
oh,
rec
so
program.
Fort Collins does what's called the Recreator.
Okay, yeah,
And that thing is, they have
yes, it's
staff that's dialed in just for that.
Yeah.
But they, I mean, because they're so well built and established and they have everything so dialed in, they can put out a whole schedule when things are gonna happen like right away
Yeah.
because they know the participation. Unfortunately, up to now, we've had to be somewhat reactive because we don't know if we're gonna get 6 softball teams or if we're gonna get 3. And if we start that programming, then we might, then push baseball or miss a baseball opportunity for kids or not schedule fields and then we're going back. So like, unfortunately, we're not in a place where we can put that out right now. If we had a few more amenities, maybe, but the ultimate goal is to get there.
Yeah.
So we can have someone say, look, map your year out with you, your family and kids and know when you're going to sign up for whatever it
Do we
is.
do smaller scale ones? Like, cause Ridley's pissed me off. They didn't hang up my poster. But that one at Ridley's, they got, I don't even know what it is, thank you grandma hanging there or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, why is this got like a thank you letter in here? Why doesn't the town have like a rent a spot and be like,
Here's the stuff.
this is shit
So-
coming up for March or for
Yeah.
August, you know? And then
Yeah.
So the
boom.
community partners, Ridley's right on there. Someone goes and reaches out to Ridley's and says, can we have a space for our programming?
Liquor
Guide.
store, coffee shop, I mean, just like not big, but.
Yep.
And
So that's part of that community partners list that we'll develop next time.
This would be,
So-
There's a big opportunity though with the chamber directory, because they publish that, they print it, and any opportunity for more people to use it would be something that they would be a fan of,
okay.
right? But they're also looking for funding partners for that
That
too.
comes in the mail, right?
It comes in the mail to every business, and it also is available for free at every business that's like participates with the chamber.
Okay.
So it's a pickup thing at Owl Canyon, anywhere that you go, and they actively distribute it, right?
Okay.
So, and amenities like that are economic development, so they're always gonna be in on that. So I think if we start planning that earlier
Squeezing
on,
into there,
yeah,
get into their books.
So
Yeah,
let's-
that'd be.
Let's get that. I mean, just remember them. We'll put them part of
Yeah.
the Amos Laurelin said on the,
I literally
list.
drove over to Ridley's because I couldn't figure out the high school's website to find out when the football game was. So I was like, let's go to the damn grocery store.
look at the
Look
poster.
at the poster. Go
Yeah.
home. It was so much faster.
Yeah.
It actually beat the internet for me.
Yeah.
Go figure, right? But I just did it.
What do you got, dial up, bro? No, just
I
kidding.
know, it's one of those days. man.
So to get back on track, just send me anything you want to see in that survey. I've got about 15 things already.
Okay.
And we'll get that ready. I'll send it back out to everybody for approval, since kind of the PROST name will be on it, but
Yeah.
we'll generate and move forward with community involvement.
I love it. It's cool.
Similarly, we don't have to go over this now, and it is a late, I am gonna be involved. This is in the packet, but it's our land, our future. It's an open lands survey on recreating in open spaces for the entire county, and they're pretty much every town or city is involved in it. And I'm actually going tomorrow for the first meeting, and we're going to kind of go over the one that was done in 2012. So Wellington does have a seat in this survey that's going to be passed out for everybody, not everybody, but a certain portion of people in the county. So if you want to take a look at this, it's just another survey. I believe they're going to tailor a lot of the questions similarly. I already have some updates that I want to propose to this, but if you guys want to take a look at this and be more specific for Wellington, we're more than
Yeah.
willing. I'm more than willing to push some things forward as we go through this process. So it is a national survey company that is building this and doing the survey for us. So we are part of, pretty much everybody in Larimer County is involved in this. So I can give you more updates at the next meeting after tomorrow. If something needs to move forward faster for me to get information for you, I will send that out and see if you guys have any feedback.
Okay.
But it is gonna be pretty cool to be part of.
Speaking of the county, they do have a link on their website that links to parks in the county, but Wellington is not there, but they have one for every other city.
Okay, well, I didn't know that. So
Aw,
I just discovered that during our county meeting.
it's on the county website.
Yeah, it's like all of our parks, and then it has Fort Collins, Loveland, and it links, and it just goes straight to their town or their city's website.
super simple.
yeah,
So,
it's
okay,
just a
I'll work on
picture
that.
and-
I'll absolutely work on that.
Cool.
Note with a star, action item for Billy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Um,
Yeah.
And then, typically we'll run through the future calendar, but if we all just want to, if you guys just take the time to look at it as I update it with the things that will move from this meeting to the next one. The biggest or the next thing that I'll just propose is that I think not next meeting, or maybe it is next meeting. I want to work getting Caitlin in here, who does our
Yeah.
special events, just so she can talk to you, because very much moving forward, we will be working together in certain things, since we do a lot of staffing for her events. And so we'll try to get Caitlin in here. And
Are we still trying to do our board of trustee update on August 22nd?
so right now it's a placeholder still on the calendar.
Okay,
Do we want to go ahead with that? Move it back a little bit, keep it there for,
we picked that date
15%.
because we wanted to hit, right? to
Prior
get-
to budget.
Before
get the
budget.
Trustees
Yeah.
before budget.
Yep.
So I think Caitlin would have to be then in September so that our next meeting can be
Oh, good
dedicated to
call.
prepping for
Yep,
this.
let me change that right now.
Right,
Thank
right.
you. Yep.
I got Caitlin for September. right here. Caitlin
Okay.
March.
Is that what it is? Maybe I'd already put
And then
that.
if we
yeah.
can just stay really
Okay.
focused at the August meeting, we can prep for that. And now
Yep.
we already have a template too, right?
That I'll keep the agenda fairly clear then.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because we can do, even though we said table those, we can push those off even another meeting.
Mhm.
And some of these things we can just email back and forth, like
Yeah.
email me your list of partners, email me your questions that you want on the survey.
Yeah.
And I can just compile that rather than spending this time, because we do need to get that done.
Yeah.
Okay,
The one thing also just to have on the agenda, I don't think we finalized a mission statement, and that would be so cool if we had our finalized mission statement
Okay.
for our board of trustee meeting. So
Yep.
Yeah.
again, maybe just email, like,
Okay, yeah, that was man, I don't even know what I would add to it. I think.
just something to incorporate the recreation.
Oh.
It's so worded parks, and if we
Okay.
can just pull in. I mean, there's,
roast.
yeah.
It's P, we need the roast.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. Right?
More roasty.
Yeah.
Roasty.
Yeah.
I've seen some of those episodes. I don't know if we want to go there.
Okay,
That was on my notes.
I'm just gonna put it on the agenda.
Okay.
Finish.
No, right.
I can't believe you guys got 12 softball teams.
Upper and lower division. 6 and 6.
Oh, 6 and 6.
I want to play softball, but it seems so hardcore here. And I actually like.
The teams get
think
into it.
that's
They're
my best
awesome.
Sport, and I'm still like scared to play here.
You're serious.
It's serious.
Um,
I just need to jump in. It'll be fun.
okay. Couple quick ones. And then we're good. Or just
Yeah.
updates.
Whatever you think. Do you have an update?
We did do a proclamation for this month for Parks and Rec month. So that was celebrated at one of the trustee meetings. Yeah. And then budget is approaching, so that's gonna be the biggest thing pretty soon. That's going on, so it's gonna be a wild ride this year. So just something to consider and have in the back of your mind. But otherwise, do you guys have any questions for me? I meant to get a copy of that proclamation to bring it to you. Oh,
I have one on my desk.
wonderful. I
just left
figured
it
you
there
have it.
today.
Oh,
I'm
I
sorry.
meant to get you guys that video of the students that said Wellington needs a rec center. right?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Let me write myself a note.
I think I have a decent amount of updates. None of them were like critical level, just to kind of give you an update of what we're working on.
Yeah.
The biggest one I would say is that from the CIP budget last year for the splash pad upgrades, we do have that on BidNet. So we are waiting for the close date for that. So I did have a meeting that was scheduled for anybody interested to do a walkthrough, and nobody came today. It wasn't a mandatory meeting, so nobody did that. I'm going to reach out to all the people that are plan holders. There are 13 of them, so I'm going to reach out to them individually, see if they're interested, and if we have enough, I'll make a mandatory meeting and then get them there. But so that's just one of the big projects that we've got going on. And then there's a bunch of little things that I could do, but I think for the sake of time and sticking with everything we already talked about,
Okay.
there's a good amount.
Fair.
The parks look beautiful. I've been driving by, they all look beautiful, so well done.
That's good.
Yeah,
Did you go over the skate park?
I just drove by it a little bit ago. It's,
It looks so good.
yeah,
Those are good.
it does look good.
Looks way better. I mean, it's. Get all that dirt gone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The other thing I probably should update, we have had issues in Centennial with vandalism,
Mhm.
and we've taken away a couple porta potties already this year, and they've been fully replaced, which is it's not a fun process to do that with Republic Services, and just like the conflicting interests and who all is involved in LCSO. So basically, we're starting to file case reports every time we
Good.
find it. And they did put up 3 cameras to hopefully catch people. They've since pulled them down because the people that are typically at the park know where they're at from
Mhm.
pictures. So just to give you guys an update, we're trying to work on that from an entire, like a full-on town standpoint, and all the people that service us, like our partners at Republic Services. So we have been working on that, and it's just an ongoing issue. So if you hear anything about it, just let people know that it's absolutely like definitely one of the forefront things that I'm working on right now with LCSO, and they know about it. So if there's any issues, they can come directly to me about that.
Stick a camera through the windows of the Public Works building.
I thought you were gonna say part.
No. Not that far. It is.
There has been discussion about this being a very temporary thing, but permanent. How far do we go moving forward with protecting the Public Works building as well from vandalism, and putting up more of a permanent solution for cameras? The problem is what clarity and actual use can they get from that far away towards where the vandalization is happening. They're pretty close now, and they still have a tough time identification.
We got these things to do a million, that unbelievable job. You could put this in that
but it would do awesome. And it's
Yeah.
security cameras.
The trail cameras are not that great.
Why is it unreal?
It was in the monthly LCSO report for the last 2 months, so they're definitely aware and they're working with you,
Yep.
but they're, you
And
know.
Sergeant Cherry has been fantastic and all the officers working with him on that. We've been in constant communication almost daily. So really my update would be just like, if you hear something, direct it towards me so that I can kind of give updates, because it is a safety issue and I want to make sure that people know that we are working on it. It's just not falling by the wayside.
Could we put like a Crime Stoppers tip line or something up? And
Well,
give
there
an
is a
incentive
report of
for-
concern on the website.
Get kids
Giving
to report
incentives.
that, yeah, hey, $25 for a report.
Take the
You
time
turn in your
out now.
friends.
It's safe to tell.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's the
Yeah.
easiest way to stop it is to get the people that are there watching it happen to report it. Like,
Yep.
how do you get kids to report their friends? That's like,
Right.
what an incentive.
Safe to tell is anonymous.
What is there an incentive? No.
No.
So how do we get an
I
incentive?
put first ones that show up at the skate park, get $100. Hey, kids coming in there like, hey, I'm here. You didn't bring anything to work with. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Too, it's so tiny. I'm like, how do you even read that? They did. It was awesome. I didn't pay anybody nothing.
What do you think this is? And real quick too, Harvest Village Park is like very close to officially becoming ours. It's been a long process, but Cody and I like dialed in everything and he's working on the last piece on the back end. But I accepted everything over there with some small considerations of reseeding an area, which they did for us, which is really was good. So with that, we will officially take the park when I'm let known, but it's very, very close.
Good.
It's very much
And
almost town.
so we can put a sign in.
The zoning was approved, that it was the recommendation of PROST, the zoning for the east side, Saddleback. So they did approve that with, all those plans are not finalized, obviously, they need to do the development and final site plan, but the plat and the rezoning to allow them to do that different model with the park in the middle. Based on, and your recommendation was brought up in your meeting and it did pass, so.
Good.
Yeah, so thank you for helping.
Those three big
How
things
big,
I have.
how big's that park scheduled to be anticipated to be?
It's just a pocket park.
Harvest Village size?
No, it's a pocket park, so it'll be more in line with, so it'll be HOA owned and maintained.
Mhm.
So it'll probably be more on the line of like smaller than Park Meadows. Harvest Village, the area that we
Yeah,
took
I would
over
say
is
like the
pretty
playground
large.
structure.
Oh, yeah, as far as the playground, yeah. And then there'll be open space around it, but playground
Okay.
size, I wouldn't assume it's gonna be much bigger than
Okay,
that.
kind of like that general.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you guys have anything else?
No. I need to go.
I know you need to go.
Yeah.
But I know we're
We're trying
like
to
right
rush.
there.
We're
We're
trying
like
to
right
rush.
there.
No, just give me those things.
I'll send those over to you. I guarantee I'll think of some more questions tonight.
I'll send a reminder of the two things to look at this and then the
And the mission.
mission statement. Oh yeah, think about the mission statement. It's on my notes.
Sweet.
Three things.
Okay.
Okay, so are we?
Good to adjourn?
Sorry, I'm late, I had that,
Good.
that mayor meeting, okay, I thought I told you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Natalie, are you good?
Oh, that was here. Hi, Natalie.
Just so quiet. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
I think we're good, right?
Yep.
Okay, everybody's agreement, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Do we have to motion?
we got 4, right? Is that enough?
Start in motion, let me.
Well,
When is-
I second.
So Robert seconding.
I
and
second
we're all in
it.
favor,
That's it.
yeah. Let's-
All right. See ya. Thank you.
Good, Natalie.
Bye, Natalie. Have you had an opportunity to go to an NFRMPO meeting?